Kind of.
Kind of. Yeah, it's still early, especially for summer days, huh?
Yeah.
I'll be hyper later today.
Yeah, you're just reserving your energy
For later.
for later.
Storing it up.
Can you like be in case I need something? Because my hands might be dirty.
All right. Hi, Joaquin. Are you on now?
Yeah, he's on.
Hi.
Awesome. Okay. You guys excited for today?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Let's see. Do you guys have a bowl?
Okay. Got a bowl. Yeah, she said to bring a bowl. Okay, take your bowl.
Let me see your bowls. Show me your bowls. Is this a cereal bowl? Yep, something like that would be great. Perfect. Okay, you guys got your bowls? Awesome. And then you have saran wrap, or I'm going to be using a plastic bag. Do you see how it kind of is in the imprint of my bowl? Because I had it pushed down inside my bowl. So we're going to be doing that with our saran wrap or even strips of newspaper or something. We're just going to line our bowl with some plastic newspaper, because if we don't, then the clay will stick to our bowl and we won't be able to get it out. So this will help us get our clay pot that we're going to make inside this bowl later on. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about coil pots. And you guys may have seen coil pots or made a coil pot in school or something. You guys see our little curriculum here? So this pot is, the bottom is not coils, and then the top are all coils. And these pots are entirely made out of coils. They're really cool. So coil construction has been around for a really, really long time. And you can make some really big things out of coils with just coils. So pinch pots are pretty small, but with coils you can make much bigger pots. I've seen people make pots as tall or even taller than themselves, just with coils. It's incredible. So the possibilities are endless, and I'm going to teach you a few different ways to make coils today. Let me show you all of our different types of coils. So these are like little ball coils. They're called spheres. So you could make a pot with just all balls if you wanted. These are like little donuts, little circles that we make with our coils. This is an arch we can make with coils. Spiral. You see that? Little folds. Folds across the coil. We can even braid our coils together, like braiding your hair. Or we can twist coils. Okay, so lots of possibilities. And what we're gonna do, just so you know what the end goal is we're going to create a lot of different coils, and we're gonna start placing them in our pot. You can make all these different coils. You can make just one type of coil. It's up to you. And we're gonna put them in here, and then we're going to join them together, okay? And then when we join them together, they're going to form our bowl. But on the outside, we'll still be able to see our coil. And it's a really cool effect, okay? So coils are sometimes a little tricky to make. teach you how to make them really, really well. And sometimes I have to even start over on a piece of clay that it's just not working, and then I ball it back up again and start my coil again. So that'll probably happen. It's okay. Okay, so we're gonna get some clay out. We're gonna cut it with this little wire tool.
This, oh, okay,
I just like to wrap it around my hand one time. And I kind of use my thumbs.
okay.
Cut you some clay off.
Mm-hmm. No.
Got your clay, Madeline?
Yep.
Awesome. How are you doing, Joaquin?
Kind of. Is this enough?
Yeah, that's good. And remember, we don't want it too much clay because it's going to be harder to wedge it. We have to wedge our clay again. Yep, that looks good, Carolina. That looks good, Julia. Okay, so you guys can start forming it into a little ball.
Is this too much? Is this too much?
Down on your table to form it into a little square.
Is this too much?
Maybe if it's hard to manage, you can definitely do less than that. We can throw it down. Okay. And it might help to stand up so you're like a little bit above your clay. I'm standing up right now too. That way you can put your full body weight on. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull to tilt it up. And then with this part of our palm, we're going to push on the top of it and push down and out. And then we're going to pull it up again, tilt it like that, and push down and out. Lift it up again, and keep doing that over and over until our clay is nicely kneaded. Lift it up so it's kind of at an angle. And push on the top of it here with your palm. Push down and out. And you don't want to push too much. You don't want to flatten it too hard. Just enough to wedge it a little. How are you doing, Madeline?
Okay.
Okay. Are you standing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it might help to be up above your clay instead of, yeah, there you go, up above it like that. That way you can really push on it.
too much.
It takes some time to wedge our clay. We gotta get all those air bubbles out. Make sure the water is evenly distributed. Just loosen it up. Okay, what do you guys think? Think your clay's ready?
No.
No, not yet.
Mine's ready.
Yours ready, Carolina? Does it look like a little head? Oh yeah, that looks great, Carolina. That's perfect. That looks good. Good job, Julia.
Thank you.
If you guys want, you can put a little horn on him and wedge it and watch it go around. Kind of fun. I put a little horn on him. And watch it go around.
It's not supposed to look.
You know, it's all the way down here. Looks like a little tongue. Okay, and when we're done, we can just tap in the sides. And then gently roll it so it is more in like a sphere. Comes out looking like that. Okay. You guys ready for the next step?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're going to tear off a little piece because we're not going to need all of that at once. You could even put this clay under a bag or something to keep it so it doesn't dry out while you're waiting to use it. Okay, and then with this piece,
No, this is gonna be too big.
maybe about the size of a lemon or lime again.
Yeah, that's way too big.
Okay, and then after we make it in a circle, we're gonna start rolling it in our hands to make it into like the sphere again. That's gonna start the beginning of our coil.
Somebody's not.
Okay. Just roll it between your hands like that, back and forth, and it'll go into like a little tube of clay.
You don't do it on the table.
Okay, now I'm going to teach you how to do a coil. All right, so when we start our coil, we're going to start from the inside and work our way to the outside. Okay, So we're going to roll it back and forth, putting just a little bit of pressure. You don't want to put too much pressure because then you'll flatten it. Okay? And you can use your fingers or you can use your palms. Okay? And the trick is, do you see my clay? It's kind of flattened a little bit. And you might hear it go thump, 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 thump when you try to roll it. And it's not really wanting to roll because it's flat. Here's a trick. Every once in a while, like every few rolls, this is what I do. I twist it the opposite direction. So do you see how I'm like twisting my hands and it kind of twists the clay? Do you see how now it's like in a twist? So you don't want to twist it too much because then you'll twist like it off or you'll twist a small part into it. So if you twist it and then you re-roll it again, it will roll again and it'll go into a nice circle. And you want to do that every few times you roll it out. Keep twisting and then rolling. Twisting and rolling. Okay, and then you might get a spot that starts to get a little thinner than the rest. And if you want, you can start rolling in to that spot from the outside into that spot, and it'll kind of bring the clay back into that area and thicken it up a little. So if you start to see a thin spot, you can just do that and then make it smooth it. Okay? And then twist again and start over again. Now your coil might start to get a little long. You might want to start going from the middle to one side and then the middle to the other side. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Awesome. And if it gets too long, you can always cut it in the middle and have two coils. But sometimes if it gets too long, then it's easy for a little thin spot to happen and it starts to tear apart anyways. Okay, and just remember to keep twisting the opposite direction every once in a while as you make your coil. See, mine split right there. Bless you.
Thank you.
You don't want to use too much pressure. You don't want to push too much on your coil. Just light pressure. You just keep rolling it and rolling it out until it gets about the thickness of your pinky. You don't want it too thin. You can always go a little thicker, but your coils will be perfect when they're about the thickness of your pinky, or maybe even a little thicker if your guys' pinkies are little. How's your coil coming out, Madeline?
Good. It's just a little flat.
It's a little flat.
Yeah.
You can twist it opposite direction. See how my hands go opposite direction?
Finished mine. I cut it into 2 pieces.
Twist it. Maybe twist your clay a couple times, and it'll kind of twist it up and help it go into a circle again. That's very common.
Finished mine. I had to cut it into 2 because it was getting super long.
Yeah, you had to cut it in 2. That's perfect. I had to cut mine too. It started getting too long.
It's just because it's just a table. Not gold.
Okay, once you get one coil, you can start on another coil because we're going to need a lot of coils. So this will be good practice, making lots of coils. Twist and roll.
You gotta put that twist in. It's too thin. You gotta cut it in half. Come on. I think you're gonna have to cut it.
How you doing, Joaquin? Good? Awesome.
Miss,
Something, Joaquin?
yes, my thing keeps breaking apart.
That's okay. So, it might be too long, and that's okay. See, like mine is kind of getting thin right here. And I can either just pull that off, or I can kind of start coiling or rolling in towards that spot. Do you see how now it's kind of like got this little bump?
Yeah.
And then I can just smooth that out. But now it's thicker in that area because I kind of like brought some clay from the outside and brought it into that area.
Mhm.
And it might also help to make sure that your hands are going forward at the same time and backwards at the same time. Because if my hands kind of aren't in sync, then I'm going to break my coil. Okay? So make your hands go forward and backwards at the same time.
Yes, they do because they're around.
Does that help? Is that maybe what was happening?
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody stole my clay.
So yeah, if you have to go a little slower, that's great too.
Well, Mom put extra there.
And then you can just start setting your coils aside once they're ready. Even if they're little short guys, that's fine too.
Sam, you could use mine. No, Sam, yours needs to be just a little.
That turn out good, Madeline?
Yeah.
Awesome, it looks great. You guys are doing a good job. Very impressed. Okay, and once you work through all your clay, you can get more clay out of your little ball that we wedged and make more coils. And then once we get some coils together, I'll teach you how to make all the different coils I showed you. Yep, I got another little ball about the size of a lemon or a lime, and I kind of packed it together as a ball, and then I started rolling it. So it's kind of in a cylinder now. I think it helps to do like little short rolls instead of like long rolls. I like doing a little bit shorter rolls. Okay, and then once my coil starts getting a little longer, I'm gonna start twisting it the opposite direction. Roll a little, and then twist again, and then roll a little, and then twist again. Making sure my hands roll at the same time. And I'm going to cut this one in half because it's going to be too big. How you guys doing?
Good.
Are any of your coils breaking? Not really? Good. You guys are master coilers.
Yeah, when I was in 3rd grade, I made a coil pot for my mom.
That's so awesome. I remember making a coil pot in 3rd grade as well. Every Friday, if we finished all our work, we were allowed to play with clay. And I would skip out on recess just to do my work so that I could work with clay on Friday.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I love it. How's it going now, Joaquin? Did you get the technique down? Yeah, good. Do you guys know what clay is?
It's a mineral or something that comes from the earth.
Yeah, it definitely has minerals in it, yes. So it's basically just dirt with water, but it also has minerals like feldspar in it.
That's plain dirt without any roots.
What did you say, Carolina?
So it's clean dirt without roots in it.
I don't understand. It's kind of like mud, kind of like playing with mud. It's soil and water, except that clay was made by rocks decomposing for a long period of time. And usually, like in rivers or streams, the water would break down the rocks. And that's why they hold a lot of water. Clay holds water. Some clays have more minerals than other clays. So this clay has a lot of minerals in it. This clay is called earthenware. And then you have another kind of clay that's called stoneware. And then the third kind of clay that is very pure, has very little minerals in it, is called kaolin, or we know it as porcelain.
Wow.
Yeah. So porcelain's a clay too. I don't know if you guys have like little porcelain teacups.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. That's very fine. So there's lots of different kinds of clay. You can find clay all over the world. You can even go harvest your own clay. If you go to like a riverbank and you see like mud, it's probably clay. And you could take it and take it home with you and make something with it.
Wow. How many do you have to do?
How many do you guys have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.
Awesome.
I have 10.
Was that you, Madeline? You have 10?
Yeah.
Awesome. And Sam, you got some good ones?
Me?
Yeah.
Only 3 because I spent a long time making one.
But it looks like they're really long, huh? So that's good.
Yeah.
And then what? You got some good coils to work with? Okay. All right. Let's start making some coil decorations. Okay. All right. So I have some coils here. Okay. And I like to use my needle tool. Okay, remember this? It's really good for cutting things too. Dirty because I used it. Okay, so I can cut a length, and if I want to do lots of them, I can cut all of them the same length, so I know they're all going to be the same size. But like for this one, I want to make a donut. So I am going to just start bending it. And if your clay breaks while it's bending, it's probably just really dry, and you can just get a little water and kind of fix it. Repair it a little. I have the air conditioning on, which dries my clay out really fast. Okay.
Question. I have a question.
Yeah, you have a question? Is that Sam?
Yes.
Yes,
I
Sam.
do love using clay, but are we gonna ever use anything else in our project through Zoom?
Like, what are you thinking? Sam, this week is just clay, but next week we're gonna work on drawing. So every week is something different. Does that make sense?
Oh.
Yeah. So all of your clay projects, like you're working on them and you're keeping them at your house, and I'll either come by and pick them up and then fire them, or you guys can drop them off, just sort of depending on what everybody's schedule is like. So then I'll fire them, and then in a couple of weeks, we'll have a glazing class. So then we'll work on glazing all of your ceramics, and I'll be firing them as you glaze them, okay?
Okay.
And we have
Yeah.
other stuff here too, just while we're thinking about it. I've got a bunch of stuff that we can glaze if we want to try different glazing techniques, you know what I'm saying? Since a glaze firing is so fast. So anyway, does that answer your question, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I just made a donut. Okay, you might want to just get your fingers wet with some water and just rub your coil if it's dry before.
How many do we need to have?
You have some long ones, so you're good. You can just start cutting it down to the size you want. Like if you want to make a donut, you don't need very much of your coil. So your coil, that long coil is going to make a lot of different ones. Okay, so this one, I'm going to just fold it. And I'm going to...
Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Wow! You are a coil machine. Okay, so you guys can start making some of these little decorations if you want for your pot, because we're going to be combining these. And you can decide what you want in your pot, like if you want one big spiral, or if you want lots of little arches, like little rainbows. If you want all donuts, or you want to combine donuts and spheres. We can fold clay all the way around, or we can twist it. The way you twist them,
Mommy, look.
you can take 2 pieces and cut them to the same lengths. And then I like to pinch the top, the tips together, so they kind of stay, kind of like a hair tie. And then I'm going to start wrapping them around each other. Okay, like that. And then them together. And that's a really cool thing. And then I like to squeeze off the other end too.
I made a giant spiral for the
Yeah,
pot, and then
perfect.
I'm going to do braids for the outside.
That's a great idea. I usually do a big spiral for the bottom, and then I work my way up. But you don't have to do a spiral on the bottom. You can do whatever you want. Okay, and then for a braid, you're going to need 3 coils, and you can cut them with your little needle tool, all through the same length, and then pinch them at the top.
I need some more clay.
And then what you can do, I'm going to spread them out so you can see. So I'm going to take one of the outside ones and place it over the middle. And now the middle becomes the outside one. Okay. And then I'm going to do the opposite outside one. Place it over the middle. Now that one becomes the middle. And I'm just going to keep repeating that back and forth until they're all braided together.
I'm trying to look great.
Okay, that.
What you doing? Okay, what should I do next?
Okay. So then when you get some coils made, we're going to start putting them into our pot or into our bowl.
Need to cut it right here. Okay.
And this might take into the next class. I figured we'd work on this tomorrow as well as today. So you guys can keep making coils,
Okay, so I go like this.
start shaping them, and then tomorrow we can start building our pot. If we don't get that far, it's fine. Okay, because we have tomorrow to work on this as well. Because sometimes making coils takes a lot of time, especially enough to fill up the whole bowl. So if you make a coil and you want to keep it for tomorrow, it's really important to keep them all covered together.
What?
Okay? Because you want your clay to have the same amount of moisture as the other piece of clay that you're combining it to. If this piece of clay is really wet and this piece of clay is really dry, do you think they're going to dry at the same rate?
This is a big one. Big donut.
This one's going to dry out faster than this one, and then likely there will be a crack in between them where you tried to combine them. Okay, so we don't want any cracks. So we're going to try and keep them all together so they are all the same level of dryness. That makes sense? You guys got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you making a spiral, Madeline?
Yeah.
That looks great.
Now I'm gonna make rainbow. Look at how to make the rainbow. Oh. Now we
Doing walking. Are you doing good?
should make another slide. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
You guys need me to demonstrate anything else to you?
Yeah.
What would you like me to show you?
What is it? I forgot.
You forgot?
Yeah.
Is it one of these that you want me to show you how to make?
Oh yeah, it's the bottom one. Yeah.
This one or this one? The arch or the fold?
The fold.
The fold, okay. Okay, so for this one, since we're folding it, I'd get some water on your fingers and I would just wipe down your coil so it's a little moister, a little more moist. So when we fold it, it doesn't crack and break. Mine broke. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm just going to start folding it like that, and then folding it back up. Then folding it back down again. And then if you get little cracks on the edge, you can just get some water and rub them out. Okay. And then you can keep doing that if you want. You can get another coil and combine it with this one. I'm gonna, if if I want my fold to be longer, I'm going to get this one and wet it down. Okay, and I'm just going to connect this to this one. Kind of rubbing them together so they kind of become one. Do you see how they are kind of gluing together? Awesome, you did great, Madeline. Great. And then you can just wrapping it around.
That's it.
And it could even get smaller as you keep going, though it kind of looks like a Christmas tree, huh? This reminds me of that candy that folds back and forth. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. What do I do with this one?
So we got donuts and candy and rainbows.
It sounds.
The snail.
I'm gonna add some water.
Yeah, you can add some water if your clay is a little too dry. Okay, and then for those of you who are ready to move on to the next step and want to start putting your coils in your bowl. Okay, so I'm going to start placing them from the bottom, and I kind of just decide, well, this fits here, and then maybe I'll put this here, but then I have this space between this and this, so maybe I'll put a ball right there, fill in that space. Okay, and then once you start getting a couple that go together, we're actually going to start blending them together.
But the sphere.
You guys, I'm using this tool that comes in your little kit. It has kind of like a curved flat edge end and then a pokey end. We're going to use the curved flat end.
No. This one?
Yep, that one, Madeline.
Okay.
Yes, we're going to start pressing those together to where it completely, once we're done, this will be completely flat and we won't even see our coils anymore. But when we're all done, we'll see them from the other side. But you do not have to worry about doing that right now. We can do that tomorrow too. Okay, do you see how this is starting to blend together? These areas here. It's starting to like all come together into one piece, even though they were separate coils. That's for you, Julia, because I know you're ready to get going.
Do you need some water? Do you need some water?
Okay, but for now, if you want, you can just start placing them in there, and then you're going to just cover it for tomorrow so we can blend them together and finish our pot. Or you can keep making coil designs.
This one is so simple to go in there. A little too dry.
So these little balls are really great to make a whole bunch of little balls because they're perfect for filling in little holes. And you can make them all different sizes for the perfect hole.
Get those coils wet because they've been sitting there for a while.
Oh, looks very good. Make it a little skinnier. So just
I forgot to tell you guys yesterday that any unused little bits of clay, like say I don't want to use this, I can put it back into my bag and save it for the next time. You don't have to throw it away. You can just keep reusing it. It might be a little drier than the rest of your clay, but you can always add a little bit of water to it. So when you make pots on the wheel, you waste a lot of clay. But with hand building, you don't use any clay. You can use all the clay, which is great. And then I also forgot to tell you guys that when you go to wash your tools, it's best to wash them in warm water. You don't need soap, just some warm water. And that warm water will break down that clay and it'll come off real easy. You guys are going to be experts at clay building. Wow. How's it coming along, Sam?
most making it as a heart. I don't think it has heart.
That looks great. That looks really great.
Don't make it as a heart. I make it as a heart.
How you doing, Madeline?
I just need a, I don't know. Book.
The water. Perfect.
Just need to put that.
Dry it. Dry. No.
Can you show me all the different oils you can make again?
Yeah. Okay, there's donuts. There's twists. Twist your thing together, just 2 coils. There's a braid. We're 3 coils together, braiding it like hair, although you probably never braided hair before.
I've braided in hair.
You probably braided hair, yeah. Your sister can teach you how to braid your clay. But it's real simple. I can show you again if you're interested in that. And there's little arches. You can start with like a small arch and keep going bigger and bigger. Do you see that, Sam? And then there's
Okay. Oh, this year.
there's the fold. They go back and forth and back and forth. And I kind of started putting it in my pot.
Done.
And then just these little balls, these little spheres. There's an artist that I included in here, and she adds little balls to her pots and different sizes, and it creates this really cool effect.
Good. 2 balls.
You guys see that?
Okay. I need a lot of balls though.
So you can do some cool things with little balls.
We can put balls together. Getting a little cold.
Make your whole pot out of just little balls. Those are easy to make too. Huh, Madeline?
Mm.
Yeah. You making some balls? How are you doing, Carolyn? You working on putting your coils into your bowl? Awesome. And Joaquin, you doing all right still? Awesome.
Lots of balls.
You're blending them together.
Make it a little smaller.
Okay, so you guys, if you started putting coils in your pots, you could even lay your coils inside your pot with your other coils. Just set them in there. Or you can cover them separately. That's fine too. You just want to make sure and keep them moist. So when you cover them, make sure that the plastic isn't letting a lot of air in. So you cover it with a little plastic grocery bag, and that'll keep all the moisture in. And you could even like get a little spray bottle of water and spritz them to keep them wet.
So keep putting
So tomorrow we can keep working on it.
right here. This. Yes.
I still need to blend everything, but I'm pretty much finished.
Awesome, it looks great. Yes, blend it all together. And the great thing about coil pots is we don't have to score and slip when we put coils together like we did yesterday, because we're blending it all together, so it kind of becomes one when we blend it. So that's kind of nice too.
That's really good. Thanks.
And then Julia, it might be tempting to try and take it out,
Yeah.
but we'll have to let it dry so it's dry enough to hold its shape before we take it out. Okay, and then you can make another one with a different design. Maybe you can make one out of a different bowl, so it's a different shape too.
I want to make it so
We do that. We could have another bowl and make it a different shape.
Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10:30, and we'll keep making our coil bowl. Okay.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there, all right? Do you guys have fun making coils today?
Yeah.
You guys rocked it. You guys are amazing coil makers.
You can put your whole bowl.
All right, so when you're all done, just make sure you cover up all your coils and your bowl, and then you can clean your tools, and we'll work on them again tomorrow, okay?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. I had fun.
We'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
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 Hi, Carolina.